Hello, I'm the Moonchild Medium. Today I'm going to be doing somewhat of a love and relationship reading. This is going to be specifically for people who are in a committed relationship. Now, this is a very inclusive channel, so you might be queer or polyamorous, and so your relationship model doesn't look exactly like, I just have one partner. So if that's the case, then a little bit of guideline for you is that if the person you're inquiring about is in a committed relationship with you, or like has some sort of agreement with you, like at that, then that would be appropriate for you to be in this reading. However, if who you're inquiring about you don't really have any kind of agreement with, or like there isn't actually like a relationship, then I would suggest that you go to the singles reading. Now, I posted a singles reading today, and it was like a little bit spicy, so I didn't feel fully comfortable making it available to people under 18, and so I think that it kind of got hidden. So if that's the case, don't worry. If you can't actually see it or find it, then just stick around, because the next reading I'm going to do is for singles. So today I am actually smoking this really cool new herbal blend that I'm trying. It's for the heart chakra. I got these cool like rose petal wraps. Anyone who knows me knows like I'm really into roses for some reason. Uh, so in this blend is mugwort, damiana, skullcap, raspberry leaf, mullein, rose petals, calendula, blue cornflowers. I really like it. I do feel that it is very heart opening, and that the rose petals are very like elevating. And since this is like a relationship reading, I felt that it was appropriate for that. So I'm gonna be smoking on it a little bit during the reading, and just sharing all of this with you, because I feel that if you're here, it's because you are opening your heart chakra, or feeling the need to open it, whether you're like consciously aware of that or not. So you're here because we need to do a little bit of heart chakra opening. Now, February is a month of relationships, so I've been feeling very heavily called to put this reading out there. And I'm going to say we're also moving through some really intense energy right now. I think like the whole collective is. So I just wanted to jump on here and provide a little bit of support and messages to help us all move through that energy together. So this is going to be a series. It's not always going to be like specifically about love and relationships, or like romantic relationships, but it could also be about like your relationship to yourself, your relationship to finances, your relationship to your family. Like, it could be all of that. But basically, whatever you're going through, I would like to help you move through that energy. Whenever you're finding this, even if it's not in February, this message is for you. So don't worry about the timing. And I just want to encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, just because it like gives me a little bit more access to your energy when I'm doing the readings. And that, because that's always the intention that I set, that I would read for people who are subscribed to me, or who might see it and like it and comment on it. So if you do that, I can actually pick up on your energy a little bit more, and as we're shifting and moving through that energy, I will be able to tailor the readings more to shift them more to what's specifically going on in your life. Okay, so that said, today we're gonna do, I call it a pick a card, but it's I'm gonna be using all the decks, all of them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually pick 3 stones. I have this little like pile of stones here. I'm gonna pick 3 of them, and then you can pick from there whichever one calls to you, and that will be your reading. I'm going to try to remember, sometimes I forget, but I'm going to try to remember to put the timestamps in the description of the video so that you can easily find your pile. So if I remember, then it'll be there. All right, so let's go ahead and start by picking the 3 stones. Just give them a little shuffle. So pile number 1 is going to be this turquoise howlite. I don't know how well you can see that. Pile number 2 is going to be, ooh, another howlite. But this one is a white howlite, and it's in the shape of a heart. How appropriate. All right, and finally, pile number 3. Ooh. Let's see, this is like a green stone. You know, I'm not even gonna give like a wrong guess because I don't think I actually know this stone. But it is a green and a white stone. So here you go. I actually got this in like a metaphysical store so that I could make jewelry out of it. I got like a bag of them. So anyways, so those are your 3 options. I'm going to show them to you right now. And you can pick whichever one calls to you. You can pick 1, or you can pick 2, or you can pick all 3, whatever calls to you. It's really all about your intuition. I'm gonna give you just a moment if you would like to actually pause the video and meditate for a second, or if you just feel like you know what it is that you want to pick. It's up to you, but I'm gonna go ahead and get right into the messages. All right. So for pile number 1, we have this turquoise howlite. And what I know about howlite is that it's actually really good for setting healthy boundaries. This could be like between you and someone else. It could be boundaries like for yourself. Like you could be like somebody who's like, oh, if I don't put a boundary on myself, then I'll just watch TV all day. So like I have to like actually tell myself that there's like a rule. I can't like binge watch or anything. I have to like turn the TV off after 1 episode or 2 episodes or a movie or whatever. So that's just an example. And then the turquoise color to me speaks of like throat chakra and third eye chakra kind of stuff. And I like this, like there's like a triangular like kind of feeling to this. This makes me feel like, it's like a mountain, or yeah, like a mountain. You could be somebody who lives in the mountains or is from the mountains. By the way, I apologize for all these like knocking noises. It's an old building I live in, so there's like when the heaters are going, they all sound like that. Okay, so that's what I'm picking up from this stone, and I'm gonna just start to ask a little bit about who you are and who your partner is. That way, you know if this reading is for you. Spirit, who is this? Pile number 1. Who is watching pile number 1? All right, we've got the Knight of Wands in reverse, the King of Wands in reverse, and the High Priestess. Well, you're a very intuitive person. You might actually be like someone who's very spiritually attuned, like a spiritual teacher or leader of some sort. You're somebody who people come to for advice because you like somehow always get it right. You might be a Gemini or Cancer, like a moon or air sign. I'm sorry, a water or air sign. The moon slip, it's like I'm seeing the moon, the imagery of the moon. And that's standing out to me a lot. Sorry, it's a little bit dark. But that's standing out to me a lot is that moon energy. So I feel like you definitely have some sort of a connection with the moon. And I also feel like you're a very like sensual, like sexually attuned person, somewhat like liberated, or like at least liberation is important to you and it's something that you're attempting. Let me see if I can move this light a little bit, and that way you can maybe see a little bit better, like see the cards when I show them to you. All right. The Knight of Wands in reverse and the Knight of Kings in reverse. I feel like that you are a very creative and passionate person, but you've been kind of like sleeping on that. I feel like you've been in a moment of like more, I don't know if stillness is the word, and stagnancy isn't the word either. Because like there's almost like I get this sense of like you've been in like this chaos energy, or you've been very anxious. So when I say stillness, I kind of feel like that's not appropriate because I don't feel like your spirit is still or quiet. I feel like there's a lot going on inside, but it's not showing on the surface. You're somebody who has the high intuition, but I feel that you're not actually releasing it in any way. Maybe that's why we've got this, like, that actually makes so much sense now when I put 2 and 2 together about this being related to both the third eye and the throat. I feel like you're getting messages and downloads, but you're not actually speaking them. You should be sharing them. So some of you here are also tarot readers or mediums or psychics or teachers even, and you're not actually functioning in that capacity right now. And so that's what I see for you, for like the person that you are. Very, very, very powerful person, and somebody who when you set your mind to something, you can usually accomplish it very quickly. You're just like, you kind of just like go and like figure it out. But right now you're not in that energy. You're kind of like in a sitting or waiting energy is what I sense from you. And your partner, who is the partner of the person watching this video? Someone mysterious. All right, we've got the Knight of Pentacles. Let's see if I do this. I feel like you can see a little bit better that way. The Knight of Pentacles. The Seven of Swords in reverse. Let's see, is there one more? The Three of Pentacles. I feel like this person is someone who's usually very reliable. They're like the practical thinker to your intuition. Um, they're the person who like often helps you kind of make your visions come true. Um, they view you and like your partnership as somewhat of a business transaction. And I don't mean that in a like negative way, like that they like it's like I mean, you may feel a little bit like that. I feel like you're someone who's a little bit more emotional and intuitive, and you know, like you move more from that space, from your intuition and your emotion, right? And they are someone who's more practical. They're like the Knight of Pentacles is someone who is like very heavily invested in serving others. Like that is the like main characteristic of them. A very steady and solid character, very chivalrous. Now remember, like this is a very queer and you know non-binary friendly channel, so chivalrous can apply to anyone. I mean, honestly, there's just like it's like there are people who are not traditional like cisgendered men who they view their role as like maybe the more like masculine person in the relationship, as like you know they're traditionally supposed to be more chivalrous, so they would be someone who does acts of service for you as their love language, and they would like cook for you and pull out chairs for you and things like that. I do sense that like there is some sort of like aversion to conflict, and maybe they don't really communicate very well when emotions are involved. And so but they seem to be someone who maybe like argues a lot. They argue verbally, like almost like exhaustively. And I feel like when I'm saying that you're like, yep, that's them, and that's the energy that they bring to the table. They're always arguing with me, and I feel like they don't need to be. Honestly, I almost get the sense that this person may be a little bit like on the autistic side or something. Like their way of being and communicating is a little bit more like methodical and you know, rooted in like the practical, and there isn't as much of that like fiery passionate energy to them, although there is, but I feel that this person is more of like an earthy type of person. So you may be like more like fire and air and water. Actually, more water. You might be like more fire and water, and I see them having like a little bit of fire in them, but like mostly I see like a lot of earth energy here. And I feel like they're growing and they're evolving, but just they're always like a little bit more grounded in the practical, and you're a little bit more like spiritual, or like you know, following things that they would be like, that's super like woo woo. I don't know about that. Okay, so if that's you and that's your partner, then this is your reading. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna pick up the Mermaid Tarot deck. No. This one that's calling to me. Now this Manara deck, this is the reason why I didn't really feel like fully comfortable posting the singles reading, just like for anyone who's like not 18, over 18. But I'm gonna try to keep it as clean as possible. I feel like this deck kind of wants to talk to us about the state of the relationship, like the strengths in the relationship, the things that you're like doing well on. So the first card that's coming out is Seven of Water. Seven of Water. Water is cups. Water is emotion. It's an image of someone showering, and there's another person who is like somewhat voyeuristic in this showering. But what's interesting is the person who's like more voyeuristic is like someone who's more of like, it's like literally a picture of an indigenous person. And so I feel like what brings you together is your admiration for each other. At least one of you admires the other very, very much. I feel like you admire them very much. And I feel like they're kind of unaware of you, or like the way that they present is like very aloof. And I feel that they learned from your expression of emotion and sensuality. And I feel that you're like awakening in many ways. So this feels a little bit like there's somewhat of a disconnect or a separation between you two. But there's still a lot of sensuality. There's a lot of Venus energy and also Scorpio energy. One of you might have like some significant Scorpio placement, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. It might be that you have a Scorpio Venus, honestly. That you or they. Okay, we've got the Seven of Fire, which is a very, 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 very sexually charged card. There's Mars energy and Leo. Someone might have a Leo in Mars. We've got 2 sevens back to back. That's very lucky. Very lucky. So I do feel that you both feel that you're lucky to have each other. And I feel that you're both very attracted to each other and experimental. Ooh. We got 2 that came out at the same time. So we've got the King of Air, which is the King of Swords. And we've got 8 of Water, which is 8 of Cups. So there's like, the King of Air is someone who's like very discerning, very cunning, like somebody who thinks outside of the box. There's like Aquarius energy in this. They think outside of the box. They cannot be contained. They run free and wild, but at the same time, they are very, very good with matters of like judging and discerning, basically. There's a lot of wisdom in them, but they, while there's somebody who could very easily and quickly turn around and cut you down, they are mature enough not to do that. They kind of like know their power in that, and they have worked on it enough to really like know how to harness their power in a way that's meaningful, rather than in a way that's destructive. But don't get it twisted, because that destructive energy also is like, you know, part of the yin and yang of that energy. So you really don't want to cross somebody like this, because when they need to unleash on you, they will. And then the Eight of Cups is about leaving something behind. I really believe that it's like there's like this energy of, it's interesting that there's so much water energy in this. There's like a very emotional aspect to your relationship. A very emotional aspect to your relationship. And they're a lot more emotional than they let on. And that kind of becomes a part of your relationship, I believe. I do think that you are in a space where you're learning to communicate with each other in an effective way, like where you're both taking each other's needs into consideration, and like leaving behind some of the like arguments. I feel like you're learning how to communicate a little bit better, and that is the strength that you have. I also feel like you complement each other very well, being like someone who's very emotional and there's someone who is very grounded, or like, you know, more like they think more practically. I think that this is something that like works to your benefit. And so next, I'm going to ask the mermaids now about the, ooh, there's so much resistance about the things that you're, you know, questioning in the relationship. The, you know, quote unquote weaknesses, or the things that could, you know, be strengthened. Oh, they really want to say that. All right, so we got 3 very clear messages, and the first one that came out is that you can't make this up, is the King of Swords. All right, the King of Air. I think I can show this one to you. The King of Air, the King of Swords. Same guy. So it's interesting that this is what's coming out in your, you know, weaknesses and things that need to be worked on. Then we also have the Six of Wands. And the Hermit. So I feel like there's some enlightenment that needs to be had here. And also some like much needed alone time. You need to be spending more alone time with yourself. Maybe they also do. Like, you might be a little bit like spending too much time together and being a little bit codependent. And the Six of Wands, though, is a very triumphant wand, or a very triumphant card. It's, you know, somebody who's like kind of performative in front of a bunch of people. And so I feel like there's an aspect of that like you kind of, I feel like there is, with the presence of the King of Swords here, I feel like there is this feeling of like arguing in public, or arguing to win. Oh, yeah, that's it. It's arguing to win. And that the elevation that you need to have, because you're working on the communication, like it's really, you need to be able to have enough healthy boundaries that you're spending enough time by yourselves, right? And also being very purposeful about the way that you argue. Okay? Conflict itself is not bad. But it's when you're just fighting. It's not just conflict, but you're fighting with each other when you are listening to respond instead of listening to understand. So I feel like there's an aspect of that. And honestly, it may be one of you doing this, or you may feel like, oh, they do that to me all the time. But I really feel that this is like overall what both of you need to be working on. It's like one of you is the King of Wands, or King of Swords, the King of Air, right? And the other one sees that aspect of them, the King of Wands, as something that is negative, that's bad. And but there is a strength in the King of Swords. It came up both times upright instead of reversed. So this is a strength, and it's like something that needs to be embraced. But I do feel that both of you could diffuse the tension by listening to understand instead of listening to respond. Okay, so that's like the weakness that you're dealing with right now. And then finally, I'm going to just ask for a little bit of advice about how you can move forward together. Like what's the healthiest way to move forward together as a couple? I'm using the Modern Witch Tarot deck for this one. Wow, gave me a whole novel here, so we're gonna just take that and run with it. I've got the Ace of Swords in reverse, 5 of Wands, Two of Swords, the Temperance card, Ten of Wands, and Four of Wands in reverse. Okay, this is very, very much about conflict and placing boundaries in the way that you actually have these conflicts with each other. And it's not just about the boundaries that you have, like where you go like, hey, you can't talk to me like that, but it's also with yourself. You have to be able to say like, I'm not going to allow myself to speak to someone in a way that I feel is disrespectful, things like that. Okay. With the Ace of Swords, there's like definitely that you need to be able to put down the need to win this argument. Like you have to be able to like enter into any kind of conflict with each other and like with an open heart. This is why we're here, with an open heart. Okay, so with that, I'm going to take another puff, because this is honestly, this is the overarching message of this whole reading for you is that you both need to fight a little bit more fair. You both need to have a little bit more temperance and balance in the way that you communicate with each other. And when I say you both do, I don't mean go to them and tell them, hey, you need to be having a little more temperance communicating with me. I'm talking to you, okay? I'm saying you need to have a little bit more temperance in the way that you speak to your partner. You know, and in doing so, you can actually you can come to like a better understanding, and like you can have more productive arguments, okay? Because the 5 of Wands and the 10 of Wands here, they they're both cards of like opposition and fighting, and like, you know, especially the 5 of Wands is about like having conflict, but it's upright, so it's not like a bad conflict. It's actually like something that is good. Don't avoid conflict, embrace it. I do see in between the 5 of Wands and the Temperance card, though, is the 2 of Swords. And usually the 2 of Swords signifies that there's like, you know, 2 things you can choose from, like 2 paths you can choose from. But a lot of the energy of this card is also about how you're blocking yourself. Because I just feel like you need to learn how to, honestly, you need to learn how to argue productively. You may be someone who, although you have your own feistiness, you may be the one in this relationship because you're in the High Priestess energy, and you know, have the 2 wands, the King of Wands and Knight of Wands in reverse. I kind of feel like you're somebody who tries to avoid conflict, although when you engage in it, you really can. But because of that, you're actually you are when you, or even when they like actually avoid conflict. Honestly, they may be someone who avoids conflict too, for the most part, or like a lot more than you know, than people normally would. Like maybe they avoid conflict with you because they know you're someone who avoids conflict with them. It might be something like that, but it's like there's someone here who avoids conflict and needs to learn to embrace it. Needs to learn how to stay grounded and regulated in these arguments. And I also kind of feel like there may be like some co-regulation stuff that you guys can do together to get through arguments. Like when I say co-regulation, I mean like, you know, you could be choosing to like hug each other when you're like really worked up, and just like matching your heartbeats to each other, breathing, calming down, and approaching the argument from a different direction. Like it doesn't have to be that you're screaming with each other all the time. You can still have a conflict in a way that is that it feels safe for both of you. Okay, so maybe that's even the, you know, the boundaries that you need to be setting, is like how to have the conflict in a way that's safe, but not in a way that stops the conflict, but a way that just like allows you to have it to the point that you can see it through. Now we do have the 4 of Wands on the end, and even though it's in reverse, no matter what position it's in, it's always talking about a happy, harmonious home. So I do feel that you're like worried that if you have these conflicts, that it will break you up, that it will make your home life uncomfortable. And this card to me is an indicator that that's not true. That even though that may be something that you're believing, it's really just something that you have to trust the process. You have to trust each other enough to be able to have those conflicts and move on. Okay, so this is what I have for you right now. This is today's energy. Now remember, this is going to be a series, so make sure that if this resonated with you and you want to hear more and you want it to like be more in depth for you, then please like, comment, subscribe, so that we can continue to take this journey together and move through this energy of, like, learning how to have conflict in healthy ways and strengthening and deepening our relationships. Okay, so with that, I will see you in your next reading, and I hope you have just the most beautiful, bright, blessed day. It's time now to set up for the second reading. So what I like to do in between readings is shuffle out the energy from the previous reading. And I don't have any fancy editing equipment or anything like that, so I'm just doing these videos all the way through. And it might be a little boring for some of you, but hopefully it's also a little bit authentic. And if you don't like this, then hopefully I will have remembered to put the timestamps in the description and you can skip to your next reading. So we gotta do a quick little reset. And with that, I also like to light a little bit of Palo Santo to reset my own energy. We reset the cards. Reset the table. And my crown. And then to set the intention of the reading, I'm going to smoke a little bit of my heart opening blend. Some people like to smoke, some people don't. I like to smoke. And I like to drink water. Pile number 2. If you're here, it's because you chose the Howlite heart. I know that Howlite is very good for setting boundaries. I said this in the last one. I think it's very interesting that we have 2 of them back to back. So I feel like definitely there's going to be some people who are naturally going to gravitate to this one from pile 1. I feel like there's like this very like heavy, like protective energy around your heart that kind of needs to be softened, thawed a little bit. There's like a coldness. I feel that you are maybe like someone who has been a little bit confused about what boundaries are. And so your boundaries, it's not so much that they protect you as much as they actually hinder you from connecting with other people, because your boundaries are like maybe a little bit controlling of other people and like keep people emotionally distant rather than um, like being able to have like guidelines. Boundaries are more like guidelines for how you interact with other people or allow other people to interact with you. It should never be something that silences someone else, but it definitely can speak up for your feelings in a situation and what you would like to see happen. Um, I'm immediately kind of feeling like that might be something you're that you're working through right now, and you're aware of it. So I don't think I'm saying anything new to you. I don't think you like it. I definitely don't feel like you like it, but I don't think that I'm saying anything new to you. I think that you want love, and you're like, why am I not getting it? And right now, the universe is kind of like giving you the answer over and over again. So you're here right now because you've been receiving that answer. Like you need to like loosen up the chokehold that you have on your own heart. So that's where like a lot of this heart opening stuff is, like coming into play. You're needing to do more of that, and you're aware of that. I can see. So let's just get a little bit of a description of who you are, so that we know that you're in the right place, and then we'll get a description of your partner as well. First thing that came out was the Page of Wands in reverse. Okay, so I do sense the immaturity there, especially when it comes to matters of love, passion, sexuality, creativity, action. I feel like you're someone who has a lot of ideas and things you want to do and accomplish, but that you are kind of in a moment of being stagnant because of some emotional immaturity. I feel, or yeah, because of some immaturity there, basically. Oh wow. Okay, so this deck has a lot to say about you. All right. Don't worry, we're not shit talking you. It has a lot more to say about you than it did about the last deck. That's what I'll say. Okay. Yeah, so there is that immaturity initially, but you are somebody who is very giving. We have the Six of Pentacles. I'm a little bit annoyed that it seems so dark in here when it's actually very light and bright outside. So let's see if you can see it a little better. There we go. Yeah, so we've got the Six of Pentacles. You seem like a very generous person with your material wealth, with your gifts. You try to be a very fair and balanced person. If you see someone who's in need, you like almost can't help yourself. You have to find ways to help them. And so you might be like the kind of person who will come over with a casserole when someone has like had major surgery, or like you would be somebody who would lend money to a friend, or like let them stay at your place or something like that. You use your material possessions for other people, like for the good of others. And I also have here the Knight of Cups. You do try to be there for other people, like emotionally. You try to be a shoulder to cry on. You're like the first person to answer the call for help when somebody is struggling. And then we also have the Four of Swords in reverse, meaning that you have not taken a rest in a long time. You're exhausted. It's crazy that that is sitting right next to this Nine of Wands. Okay, look how tired that guy looks. You're tired. You're tired because you actually give and pour a lot out to other people. Um, and you don't really take time out for yourself. However, I feel that you get away with that a lot because you do have a lot of energy. I guess that brings me back to the Page of Wands, because even though there's immaturity there, there is a lot of like ideas and things that can, come to the surface. But I do sense like this kind of like squirrely energy, to be honest, like a little bit like scattered, or like, there's like shiny object syndrome. You're like, oh, they need my help over there. Okay, go over there. Oh, they need my help over there. Okay, go over there. And like there's like a lot of stuff that you're not accomplishing um because of that. Well, yeah, I was just thinking like, that's very airy energy, and I was like, wait, where are the swords? I would expect there to be more swords with this energy coming up, but we do have that Four of Swords. So I do feel that that is why you're tired, because there's a little bit of scatteredness and you're not really seeing anything to completion. I feel like because you want to be helpful so bad, and you want also to be needed, you want to be a healer. And so you move very quickly. We have the Eight of Wands here, moves very, very quickly. And that's like a lot of projects that you're juggling in the air. However, we also have the Seven of Swords, which is kind of like unrealistic. I mean, Seven of Cups, sorry. Seven of Cups, which is unrealistic. It's like you have a lot of vision for things that you want to accomplish, but not all of it is possible. Or like, even if it's all possible, like maybe it's not all possible to have together. Like, you can go in any direction you want, but you can't have it all together. Or like basically you can't be juggling so many projects at once and actually expect to accomplish anything. Okay. But that is kind of the person that you are. You're the person who wants to get a lot done. And then your partner, let's get a description of your partner. First things coming out are the Three of Cups in reverse and the Empress, which is also a 3. So your partner is someone who is also very rapidly growing, expanding, evolving, maturing, right? But they are someone who has difficulty connecting with people, I think. This is someone whose energy is very strong, beautiful, but they're less of like a go-getter, and they like sit and attract. They sit and they wait. They wait. And I feel like I feel like they're kind of like in a moment where it's like they have been recently in a moment of like celebrating things about life and themselves and their relationships. But right now they're kind of like, they're kind of in a period of waiting, I feel. So it's not that they don't have friends or that they really are having trouble connecting with people. They're just more like, I think, in an in-between period. We've got the Six of Wands, which is a very victorious energy. So yeah, I do feel that celebration aspect, that's what I like, that I'm picking up a lot of that, because the Three of Cups is like a very celebratory cup, especially when it's upright. A card when it's upright. They're definitely like standing, I feel like they're standing in their own power right now. So maybe that's even highlighting the immaturity that you're bringing to the table. So that may be like one of the things, one of the reasons why you are here and you're asking questions, because you're starting to see them grow. We've got the Queen of Cups in reverse. I do feel that because they are like kind of in a period of waiting and focusing on themselves, that they are less capable of holding your emotions, or it's not that they're less capable of holding your emotions, but they aren't putting up with your bullshit anymore. Honestly, I feel like they've called you out for that recently, and so it's like that's why you're aware of the emotional immaturity and the wall that you built around your heart, and I feel like that's why you're here in this reading, because you do care about this relationship. I think that you're afraid of losing it is what I feel. And so, it's like I don't think that you put together two and two sometimes about how when you spread yourself so thin, and like, trying to help other people, even if it's trying to help them, like your partner, when you're spreading yourself so thin, you actually aren't giving anybody like all of yourself. And I feel that your partner feels that, and they deserve all of you. Like they deserve to have a partner who gives them all of themselves. And I feel that they've called you out on that recently. And they're, standing in their power doing it. All right, and then lastly, this person is represented by the Page of Pentacles. I feel like one of the triumphs that they're encountering is that because they're focusing on themselves a bit more now, like I think that there may be like them trying to like pull themselves away from codependency in a way. And because of that, they're actually starting to create more like financial abundance for themselves, more wealth. Maybe there's like been like a period of time in their life where they were really financially struggling. And so I feel that now that they're focusing on themselves, they're actually starting to be able to like generate enough finances to like be able to say, okay, I'm pulling myself out of that financial pit I was in. And so they're kind of like wanting you to step up with them and elevate with them in a way, is what I feel. And then, all right, let's talk about the strengths of this relationship. As I told the last pile that I did, this deck that I'm using is the Manara deck. And this is a little bit spicy, which is the reason why I didn't feel fully comfortable making the last deck available, the last reading available to people who were under 18. But I'm going to try to keep it PG and just give you as like what I need to give you from these cards. But I feel that they're going to talk to us about the strengths of this relationship. Okay, so first we have the Queen of Air, which is the Queen of Swords in reverse. And we also have the Chariot upright. For the Queen of Swords, or Queen of Air in reverse, to me this has like a lot of Libra energy in it, a lot of airy energy in it. It really like talks to me a lot about someone who has a sharp tongue and can be very cold, distant. Honestly, it's the bringing back the description to me of like what I was feeling when I was holding this stone for you. that like, you know, cold and emotionally distant um, feeling. You know, I feel that that is like kind of representative of you, and then this other person is the Chariot, and they have like a more fiery, sensual energy to them, more of like a carefree, like, you know, someone who gets a lot of attention. And it's not that you're not someone who gets a lot of attention too. You're very sensual and beautiful in your own way, you know, like there's a lot of beauty between both of you. You both turn heads for sure. Um, and but there is like this, I actually love this because it's in the strengths. You know, you're the cold hearted, like, you know, cold tongue, um, you know, like that kind of energy is in this strengths part of your reading, and it's right alongside this other energy that is this like, you know, fieriness and this sensuality. I mean, they're both very sensual, but this like very like free spirited like fieriness. Um, and so I feel like you complement each other very, very much with these energies. That's kind of what brought you together, like opposites attract. So even though there is the immaturity part of like your reading, like who you are, um, there is also still um, this something about you both that really complements each other very well. Like your cold nature alongside their heat, it brings balance to you, and you can. I feel that you actually both enjoy this aspect of each other. It's interesting. It's like the thing that you enjoy about them could be also the thing that drives you absolutely bonkers about them. But I do feel that that is like your strength. That's where you excel. More about this relationship, please. The strengths. All right, we also have the King of Air, which the King of Air is represented here with the zodiac sign of Aquarius. It's like someone who thinks outside of the box. They are very discerning. They have the ability to they communicate very well. They communicate very well. So I do feel that you have very good communication, which is why you know this about yourself, the whole like the cold-heartedness and all that, and the having boundaries around your heart. You actually know it because you communicate with each other openly enough that you're actually taking into consideration what they're saying. And then finally we have the Knave of Air. Wow, lots of sword energy, air energy in the what's like the strength about you. I feel like you have like there's like a flexibility to you both. Like you really understand that people change over time and you allow that to happen. And then so the Knave of Air is the Page of Swords. So I definitely feel that you are both I love. I can show you this one actually, because it's pretty wholesome. It's like it's like, you know, a handyman who's just, you know, dancing and having a good time. So I feel like you both are learning to go with the flow a lot more now, and I feel that you're also just like I feel that you have like a bit of enjoyment in just like your day-to-day reality. Like you don't have to be doing anything super special. You could just be painting a wall, fixing a toilet, you know, like whatever. And you are, you know, able to kind of like have this energy of like, I'm just dancing through life. And there's just like a lot of discernment in this. So I do feel that you're both growing exponentially and you are growing together. which is again why you're here, because I feel like they've pointed out something to you that you're aware of, like you're accepting that that is there, and you're committed to working it through. So now I'm just going to ask about the weaknesses in your relationship. And we kind of already know what that is because we've been talking about it. I feel that, emotionally you're kind of resistant to all of this, which is, it makes sense because you have that barrier around your heart, but you're also, you're open to it, and you are committed to growth and to change and evolution. But the weaknesses in your relationship are not just all about you. You're not like, it's not like you're the problem in this relationship or anything like that. So let's take a look at the whole thing, okay? For weaknesses, we have the Sun card. We have the World in reverse. And we have the Six of Cups in reverse. So for the Sun, in the upright position, that to me is like about warmth, creativity, healthy inner child. I feel that this is like, speaking to the immature energy here, the immaturity. We have like a few pages in this spread, which speaks of somebody who, it's like, it's not just immaturity, it's like it's also somebody who is actually starting to learn how to do things in a new way. And so I feel that you're someone who almost like likes to embrace your own expression of like youth, like you're always going to be like a kid forever, but that there's like a need to channel that energy in a way that's like a little bit more mature. And I also feel that there's like, you need a little bit of support also from your partner in like having like a healthy relationship with your inner child, where it's not just like always immaturity. It's like, you also have moments where you integrate like, your adult self and your inner child. Or like also it might be that like there, like with some of you, there might be like a sense of seriousness even though you have immaturity, and like needing to get in touch with your inner child a little bit more. So like take it as it resonates. I feel like you're someone who has either been told, hey, you need to grow up, or hey, you need to loosen up. It's like one or the other, or both, honestly. Like you may be someone who's like a little bit more of an anomaly, but that's what I feel here in this situation. And with the World in reverse, I also feel that there's a mentality that is blocking you. And this mentality, I think, is that like you can't have everything that you want. Like you can't have it all. Which is very interesting. Very interesting, because I do see you as somebody who has like a very idealistic way of looking at life, and like maybe unrealistic way of seeing what is possible, because we have that Seven of Cups in the like who you are portion of this thing. But I do feel that like I do feel that this is actually what keeps you from being vulnerable. There is like a need for vulnerability in this like Six of Cups in reverse. And it's interesting that I mentioned the inner child work because I really hadn't like looked ahead at like, you know, to like think about what the Six of Cups like really means. But now that I'm looking at it, I'm like remembering, of course, that's like the inner child work card and like the position of inner child work. So there is definitely like, I feel almost like limiting beliefs about what you can have. Here's the deal. I I feel that you're somebody who has a difficult time completing like steps in order, and you tend to like put the horse before the cart. And so because of that, you're like, you know, not accomplishing a lot of things. And then you really genuinely believe that you're not accomplishing these things because you just don't know how to accomplish anything. But that, you know, that's like a belief that you carry around with you because that's what you learned from your childhood. That's maybe like something that you were told about yourself, or you know, some like that may be something you were told about yourself because instead of people saying like, hey, let's figure out how to complete one project, like, and then complete the next one, or figure out how to get you a little bit more organized so that you actually can get to the point where you're completing a project. Instead of helping you do that, they would just be like, oh, there you go again, just starting something that you can't finish. I feel like that's kind of like the energy of what you have dealt with. And so you're kind of like spinning your wheels, trying to prove that wrong in some way. And you like genuinely need to be able to open up to your partner in that aspect and rely on them to help you, like rely on them to be like a shoulder for you to cry on, really. Like you can do all these things for yourself, sure, but like you do need support. And I feel that your partner wants to help you with, like, you know, overcoming the inner child, you know, portion of this whole thing. And that if you can allow them in that way, you actually can grow a lot. And obviously you're open to it because you're here asking about it. So let's finally get some words of encouragement, a message of encouragement, and like you know, just a little bit of guidance on how to move forward. Ace of Swords in reverse. This came out for this exact card in this exact position. It came out for the last pile too. So you may be here watching from the first pile. But pretty much this is about putting down like something that is like a burden. You definitely need to be putting down a burden. This is actually, once you do that, it feels like a big triumph. It actually feels like a weight that gets taken off of your shoulders. The moon. I love that. Okay, because I feel like that's the burden. It's like you overthink quite a bit. And I love that there's two like female figures in this card, because I do sense that a lot of the people that are watching here today, that it is like a lesbian couple. There's like two women in this relationship. And this also could be a very like, it could be a polyamorous relationship as well. Like that you're in like part of like a throuple, or part of a an arrangement of like a group of people or something like that, you know, like a pod or whatever it is. A polycule. it could be something like that. But basically, this is really about like a lot of feminine, divine energy. There is like the shedding of clothes, the shedding of like what is expected of you from society, and just like following your intuition. We've got the Empress, but in reverse this time. And we've got the King of Swords in reverse. And the Strength card. I find that really interesting because we do have the King of Swords here in your strengths as well, but this guy is upright. So I do feel like there is an energy that you are in right now where it's like you are not, you're not really sitting enough to attract. Like you are somebody who can actually attract a lot more than you think. You don't have to always be going out and getting and doing. And so you have difficulty with like sitting and waiting and attracting. And then when you aren't getting what you want, I feel that this kind of like makes you cranky, and you know, like that you're possibly like lashing out at people, or it maybe if you're not actually lashing out, maybe you don't know how to express yourself in that moment, and so like you might be someone who like language processing kind of goes out the window when you're feeling frustrated. And there is, with the Strength card, there's this like gentle like resolution, like gentle strength. There isn't all this like going and doing. So I feel that what you're shedding is like the false belief that you have to always be going, have to always be doing. You're shedding that right now, and you are in a moment where you're having to learn that strength and resilience is not going out all the time and like fighting, making things happen. It's actually sitting in whatever energy it is, and it could be a little bit uncomfortable, but sitting is important. Waiting, slowing down. There is an energy of needing to slow down here. That is going to be the thing that brings about evolution for you, is actually sitting in discomfort, feeling discomfort, feeling uncomfortable, like wanting to squirm out of your skin, but still like sitting with it. That is very important for you, and learning how to like just kind of like take some time to not be lashing out, or to like actually honor, like when you're feeling like you like are either on the verge of lashing out, or like that you want to say things and you can't. That is a time for you to honor the part of you that does not feel that it is in a place to communicate right now, and that's okay. There is strength in gentleness, and I do feel that your partner is somebody who is that gentle strength. So although they're like kind of fed up with your bullshit right now, they are also somebody who loves you very much. I see that immensely. They have like so much love in their heart for you, and they do have an open heart. So no, they won't put up with your bullshit, but they will be there for you in quiet stability. Like they're becoming someone who's like a little bit more stable in the way that they make connections, and you're still in this like maybe more like anxious energy. And so that I feel like is what's going on here, is that Spirit is asking you to calm down that anxious energy, to bring it down, and to trust that everything that needs to get done will get done. If somebody needs help and you're not there to help them, there will be someone else to help them. Like, spirit will never leave those people alone. The spirit is not gonna tell you to take a day off because, like, oh well, those people can just go fuck themselves. No, like, spirit is gonna take care of them, so you don't have to be taking care of them. You have to be focusing on yourself right now. So that's what I have for you today. Remember that this is a series, so we're moving through some of this very heavy energy together. Remember to like, comment, subscribe so that I can pick up on your energy a little bit more, and that way I can, as I do these readings, I can tailor them a little bit more to you as we go along. But that's what I have for you today, and I will see you at the next reading. I'm hungry. These readings always take so long, but they're always so good, so juicy. Just resetting the energy in the cards. I used to play music in my readings, but then YouTube would mute the audio because of copyright reasons, so can't be doing that. I do use music a lot to divinate, but I'm just gonna have to leave those for more like in-person readings. Alrighty. Let's take a sip of water. Cleanse the table. And myself. And set the intention for this relationship reading. All right, welcome pile 3. If you're here, you chose this mysterious little green stone, green and white. I kind of want to say it's adventuring. Wow, that was intense. A gust of wind just hit my front door, and it sounded like it was actually gonna open, but it didn't because it's actually locked. But that just reminds me just like a lot of air energy. There was a significant amount of air energy in the last reading too, so some of you may have watched all the way through. Maybe it's like you're like in a polyamorous situation, so that's why you kind of like watched all the way. There's a lot of like, there's like almost like a purpley hue to this, you know, that I don't think you can see on camera because it's green, but it's also like, there's kind of like a purple color underneath. So I feel like there's this like, I mean, green is like green and green crystals, they're very good for like the heart and, you know, heart health, heart opening. But there's also like that energy of like there's this like unknown factor, like this unknown thing from the divine that like you also need for healing your heart or like, you know, opening it. You might be someone who has like actually tried to heal yourself physically and emotionally with like a healthy lifestyle, and just kind of like still feel like there's something missing, if you're not also being a very like spiritual person. And there's a little bit of like, there's a little bit of like this like feeling of there's like something that amplifies that in you, like the need for like your health to be a little bit more holistic. I feel like you're very aware of the fact that you actually need both sides of your life met, or you know that you have there's many aspects to you, so you're aware of that actually. So let's just get into it because I feel like there's this like mysterious energy that I'm not fully aware of in this crystal, and you may know more about it than I do. But I also do feel like the reason that it came out was because there's like something unknown to you, and that's obviously why you're here. So let's get some cards about who you are. And then that way you'll know if this reading is for you. Who is the person watching pile number 3? We've got the Four of Pentacles. I feel like you're someone who kind of clings to material possessions. And like the home life that you need is actually, you kind of like are a person who needs like those luxuries. Like you need that special coffee maker, the espresso maker, the foaming thing. You need the latest trends and all of that. We have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. I think that you are someone who needs a lot of self-care, but you're struggling with that, especially right now. Seven of Cups in reverse. You're a very practical thinker. You see things as they are. You see reality. I feel that you see money and stability as an important thing. That's important to you. And let's get a little bit about your partner. Okay, so if that resonates with you, let's just talk about your partner a little bit and see what's going on here. Who is this person's partner that they're inquiring about? We have the Eight of Cups. I feel that this is someone who's very avoidant. They may be like an outdoorsy person, someone who actually like runs a lot, like they run to nature all the time. It's like their happy place. But then, and on the flip side, sometimes maybe in your conflicts, instead of engaging in conflict, they'll just like go for a hike, like literally go for a hike. I get that sense with them. I'm gonna tell you right now, I feel that you about money. You argue about money, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Tell me more about this person's partner. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I do think you argue about money because yeah. We have the Five of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. Definitely, I feel that they are someone who they come from poverty, or like they come from poverty. Like I feel that that's how they were raised, and so to them it's almost like normal. And so they don't prioritize making money. Like maybe they could enjoy having money, but they don't prioritize it. You cannot make this stuff up. I just told you, I think that you guys fight about money, and I think it's just because you come from very, very, very different places. So while they might be thriving in the state of your relationship with the like the state of your finances right now, you feel like the state of your finances is actually making it difficult for you to have any kind of like self-care for yourself. And so I feel like this is actually something that I can already tell right away that you're clashing on. So I want to just talk about the strengths in your relationship, because you're together for a reason, right? There's things that you love about each other. Let's talk about that. Let me open this heart, because I feel, money, arguments about money are things that actually, that's like one of the major reasons why people get divorced, or like have problems in their relationships, is like arguments about money. So I could see why you're here today, because I feel that you're definitely questioning the relationship itself and whether it's going to work, because you don't want to be doing all the work and doing it by yourself. And it doesn't seem like they're kind of in a place where they really want to step up and meet your expectations. They're kind of like also like, I don't know if I can deal with this person. I'm 1 foot out the door. So, but you love each other you work together for a reason. You love each other. So let's talk about that. Like, what are the strengths in your relationship? All right, there's some good explosive strengths. We've got 3 of Fire, which is the 3 of Wands. And we also have the Fool in reverse, which I can show you this one. It's like a woman with a marionette sitting on her lap, but in reverse. So I feel like, although things feel like very up in the air right now, you do still have admiration for each other. And you're still, neither one of you is sure that you want to end this relationship or anything. I definitely feel that you are both questioning it, but there's nothing set in stone at this point. Nobody is actually taken any real steps to end this. So I don't think that this is like one of those things, like if you're in a like having like actually like you've taken steps to get divorced or something like that. I don't think that this is that. I think that this is a relationship where you're both still open to the possibility of anything. like reconciliation, anything with each other. But with the Three of Wands, this image is like someone it's a man sitting on a bench, and there's a woman who is, sitting on top of him and hugging him. And I can't show you this one because it's not fully clean, but it's, or I don't want to say clean as if like sexuality is dirty. It's not fully shareable. We want to keep this PG. But basically, I do feel that there is like a good deal of sexual energy between you. It's not like the wildest thing you've ever experienced, but it is, there are things about it that you haven't experienced with anybody else before that, even kind of like took you off guard a little bit. You weren't, maybe even when you got together, you weren't aware of the possibilities and the opportunities. And right now, I still think like maybe you think that they're more out the door than they are. And they probably think that you're more out the door than you are. So I do feel this aspect of like that with this admiration for each other, you both do still want to make it work, which is beautiful. That's great. Let's find out anything more about the strengths in this relationship. Ooh, two at a time. So we have, let's see, 10 of Cups in reverse, and we have 4 of Pentacles in reverse. Interesting, because we have for you the 4 of Pentacles upright. And 4 of Pentacles in reverse is about like, it's really about like letting go of things. I do feel like that the fact that you don't have a lot of financial stability right now makes you have to cling to each other. And that when you see each other like step up for each other, that there is like some sort of admiration. So even though you may feel that you're not getting enough like self-care, I do feel that your partner looks at you and says, oh, my partner is struggling in this way. Let me do something to help alleviate that struggle for them. So I feel that you both do this for each other. It's a very reciprocal energy because you love each other. And so it's almost like, I feel that your partner does like more acts of service for you. Yeah, they do more acts of service for you than actually like speaking. So they're someone who may not be very good with emotional conversations or expressing emotion really. So that may be, I think, why they like run away every time that these arguments come up about money. But they are very willing to be there for you and to do things like acts of service that show you that they care and that help to alleviate some pressure off of you. And then the 10 of Cups in reverse. In this image, it's interesting because normally like the 10 of Cups in like the Rider-Waite Tarot or like, like a lot of the other ones, it's like, two people and like their family in the background, and then like a rainbow of cups, 10 cups, right? And it really signifies like this harmonious, like happy family life and home life and like emotional wealth rather than material wealth. And in this picture, it's a woman who's standing in a lake and she's very free. She's got stars in her hair. Her stance is like very free. She's like answered the call of the wild and she's out there in nature, and there's like these mountains in the background that she's like looking at and admiring, and so we've got that here in reverse. I feel honestly that what this card is telling me is that you do find ways to enjoy life together, even if it feels like you're in a deficit. Even I feel like to you, like to them, when they like are making $100 a week, that's just a number. Maybe that's not true, but when they're making like the bare minimum a week, like just barely enough to, like not even enough to survive, they find ways to make it work, and they're like kind of crafty about things like that. So they don't really have a problem with the struggle of it. It's just like their way of life. When you are making $1,000 a week, to you that feels like I'm poor. I'm so poor. And to them, they actually have the ability, I think, to feel that they are rich even when they're poor. And that's something where you differ. And not saying that either one is right or wrong. It's just that it's a way there. That's the difference, I think, in the way that you were like raised, or the situations that you were raised in, or the ways that you responded, because you might have actually also been raised, poor. I don't really feel like you were. But let's say you were, that also causes some, people to go like, I'll never be that again. So then, they just kind of become a little bit, they go to the opposite side of the spectrum, where it's like, no, I'm not going to be content with that. I deserve this. All right. So again, nothing wrong with either side of the spectrum, but I do feel that that's where you're differing. But the strength in all of this is that through all of this admiration for each other, you like cling to each other, and you do find ways to enjoy life and experience life, and like just enjoy little things about life, together, even in the midst of hardship. So that is a very important thing. That's actually a very good strength, and I think that that's what keeps you together, is that you get each other through the hard times. But you may be in a moment where you're like more like wanting to elevate your finances, and they're in a moment where they're like, I just want to like maintain. I don't want to mess with it. I want to maintain a good thing. And so I do feel like that's the issue that's coming up in your relationship. The thing that's feeling like it's like not in harmony. And we're just gonna talk to the Mermaid Tarot deck about those issues, about the weaknesses in this relationship right now, the struggle, just to get some confirmation. I'm pretty sure it's going to say what I think it's going to say, but I'd like to get confirmation and make sure that that's where we are, and there might be something else they have to say on top of that. So please, Spirit, explain to us what this weakness is. And remember, this isn't just about like your weakness and where you're going wrong. A relationship takes two people, so that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, like, what is the weakness in this relationship? We've got the Moon, and this guy flew out over here. We have the Five of Swords. Okay, so with the Moon and the Five of Swords together, it's like there's a need to follow intuition. Remember, I was talking about that, there's like something spiritual needed along with this like material, physical thing, so there's like with the energy of the Five of Swords, it's like you're learning how to discern, you're learning new things about life, and so to do that, it's like you need to actually be focusing more on building your intuition, and that's why you're here, I think, because the answer to that is with an open heart. So with that, I'm gonna smoke this again, bring a little bit more open-heartedness into this reading. Because like really the way to get in touch with your intuition is from an open heart. The way to get what you want is to move from your heart center. And what that means for anyone who doesn't really know, like hasn't heard the lingo or isn't up with the lingo, what it means to get to be moving from your heart center is actually to have an open heart for like, it's like having compassion for other people, and having compassion for yourself. So like ways that you have compassion for yourself, it seems like, is with self-care. And that's a very valid way to cultivate compassion for yourself and to demonstrate compassion for yourself. So I think maybe that's why you've been feeling a little more closed off recently, is because you haven't been able to engage in your regular rituals and routines for open-heartedness. But I do feel that you're in a moment where you're navigating that. There is someone in the Five of Swords image who has cut their hand, and so it's hard to tell in this image if it's the little, mer person who like cut themselves by accident in like a sparring match, or if the person is the people outside of them, like the other little mer children, they actually like nicked him in the little spar that they just did, right? But either way, there's sparring, and it's not bad sparring. It's not like, oh, we're fighting. It's stuff that's necessary. Like, we learn how to interact with the world and with other people by actually like interacting with like the people who we're closest with and have the most intimate connections with. So I do feel that there's an element of like in arguments or in conflict of any kind, that often there is one person who is reacting like they're very, very hurt all the time, and they need a lot of comfort. And I think that that's like where the actually this like reacting hurt is coming from, is actually from a need of like, I need to feel comforted. I need that right now. And so it's manifesting itself as like someone who's going like, oh, that hurts. Every time you say that, it hurts. Or every time you do that, it hurts. Right? When what you really need is comfort. And you or them. It's like somebody. But I don't get the sense that there was anything that was malicious that went on here, or that there's someone who is trying to hurt another person, or someone who did anything really to hurt the other person. It's that you were both engaged in something that was heavy, and like when you're playing with swords, you have to know that you're gonna get nicked at some point, and you may be the one who nicks yourself, or they may be the one who nicks you, but I do feel that there's like that you need to like, that somebody needs to be more in touch with like their intuition and the divine a little bit more. And also that has something to do with like maybe like with the discernment that it takes to know when someone is like intentionally hurting you, and when you felt hurt, like something that they said triggered something in you that felt hurt. Does that, like, I hope that makes sense. Like, it's like they didn't hurt you. You experienced pain though when they said something, and that is valid and that is real. But it's important to differentiate between the two, so that you're not always acting like the other person is attacking you. And maybe that's what you're needing to get through this particular conflict with your partner regarding money. Like, to have these conversations with each other, there needs to be more discernment in like who is like actually intending to hurt, and like who is just like feeling hurt. And that doesn't make the pain any less valid. It just means that you talk about it in a different way. Okay, like if someone is intending to hurt you, then you would be like, hey, back off, don't do that. I can't believe you would do that, right? But if somebody has hurt you, or like if you are feeling hurt by something that they said, it's more appropriate to speak about it in a way that's like, whoa, that's bringing up some pain for me. I think maybe that's something I have to deal with. And like you can talk about it from there, you can share, you can open up. But I do feel that is actually like the thing that you're struggling with the most right now. And again, this could be like both of you may be going through this moment with each other. Like both of you may be like assigning more malicious intent in these conversations. So again, it's not just about you and what you need to change. But I do recommend that if you're watching it, that you take this message personally to heart. So finally, I'm just going to pull some cards from the Modern Witch Tarot about direction, like just encouragement of how to move forward together in this relationship. Can they move forward together in love and open-heartedness? Ooh, yes. All right, so the first one that jumped out, Ace of Pentacles in reverse. You really have to, at least for now, let go of the need to have those finances in order, and trust that it is coming, and it will come, and it will happen. If you want finances, you can have them. But right now, I feel like you're almost like putting that before the rest of it. Like that's like wealth isn't built overnight, So it's like you can't just like go like, I want money, and then now we're just like working so much and we just have all this money. Like it's not actually working that way for you right now. So it's like you have to actually let go and back off of that a little bit, because if that's like the thing that you're arguing about, I feel like like it seems like what you're arguing about is money, but there's a lot more to it under the surface. Okay, actually let me grab a little bit more about what's under the surface real quick before I read these other cards that I don't even know what they are because they fell down face down on the table. But I do feel that there's like, a little bit more underneath the surface of what's going on here. What is it that this person in pile 3 has to look at that's underneath the surface that's like really the root of the argument? You're tired. You're tired. 4 of Swords in reverse. Like you're not just tired, like you're exhausted, because when it comes out this way, you're tired. Like it's time for a nap. When it comes out this way, it was time for a nap like 10 years ago. Like you have been overworking. And I do feel that this is actually in a way clouding your judgment. And this is natural when people are not resting enough. It clouds their judgment a lot, or like their perception even. So I do feel that this is an aspect of what's going on with you. You're tired. So drop the money thing for right now. That is something you can put a pin in, you can come back to later. I think that you're arguing about money because you want life to be a little bit easier right now because you're tired. And you're going to have to come back to that. You're going to have to talk about it, about the money issue. However, it's about way more than just the money. We have the Devil card. And the Devil card is actually about freeing yourself. I feel that there are like some, just basic material necessities and possessions that are important to you right now that you have to actually, for your own growth and maturity, have to actually like let go of the need for them, because that is like kind of keeping you in this space where you feel like trapped, like you can't move forward because you don't have those things. Um, and then we have the Page of Wands, which is the page is someone who could be a little bit immature, but they're also like starting something new and they're learning new things. So give yourself a break in this whole thing and give them a break, because you guys are just like you're doing the human thing for the first time together. You know what I mean? Like you are figuring things out as you go, and there is some growth happening. Um, there is some growth happening and some forward momentum, but you're still in a stage where you're learning. So it's like not there's not enough exponential growth that you're going like, oh yeah, like now I have everything I need. Uh, it's like you're that's what it is. You have already taken steps to elevate your finances, and it's just not going as well as you would like for it to go. So I feel that you're kind of like being hard on yourself and on your partner about that right now, and that for you personally is something that you have to actually deal with. You have to like be okay with the space that you're in right now, knowing that those finances and that abundance, it is coming in, but it's just not coming in the timing that you want it to. You just have to keep doing the thing that you're doing, right? But like, I know you're tired. um Ace of Wands. All right, so that ties it all in for me. You're tired because you're taking on too much at one time. You're wanting to like basically it's as if like you wanted to start a business, and then you started the business, but like you're wanting this business to be like the bestseller right away. You want to be in stores right away. You're like this, you believe in this vision so much that you're like, I have to actually make sure that every store out there has my product, and I have to, do all these things. So like I feel that you're doing a lot, and that you're kind of like forgetting that like you need to do one thing at a time. Like, yes, you can have anything you want. It is on the way. You are actually creating the life that you want. That's great. So that's interesting, because I feel like that's why your partner is like disengaging from this conversation, because they're like, what do you mean? Like, we are doing the thing. We're doing it. What are you talking about? Like, and that, your energy is like, we're doing it, but it's not good enough. So if it's not where I want it to be yet, then there must be something I'm not doing right, or something we're not doing right, and we got to do better. And really what it is that you're doing too much. That you need to like realize that it's not going to become an overnight success. Very few things are, and that's okay. That's valid. Like maybe you're someone who's actually like used to being good at everything you do, and so when it's taking a little bit of time to get these things done, you're having a little bit of difficulty accepting that. But life doesn't happen overnight, and neither does success. So I really just feel like this is a case of you just need to accept the stage that you're in, that your finances are not where your goal finances are going to be. And you really just need to be taking things one step at a time and focusing on like, okay, let's complete this step here before like I also try to take it and put it in every store in America. Like that's not realistic. So like, what's the first step is like launching the business, launching the website, whatever it is, like take it one step at a time. And that is the way that you're going to get some rest. Honestly, babe, you need some rest, because that is like clouding things with the way that you're like speaking to your partner, I believe. And you deserve some rest, okay? Remember that we're going to be moving through this energy together. So this is your reading for today. We are going to be able to evolve these readings over time, over the next few days and weeks. As you're moving through this. So remember to like, subscribe, and comment. That way I can pick up on your specific energy more, and I can tailor these more to you, to the people who are viewing specifically. So with that, I'm going to leave you with that, but don't worry, that's the energy you're working on right now. And when it's time to learn about what's coming next, or figure out the next step, and you've actually accepted this, the next reading will come out. Okay. So make sure that you watch that one too, if this is something that you feel resonated with you. And I know that there's a little bit of this reading that feels incomplete, but I'm being heavily guided to leave it there right now. I think you want some answers, some very concrete answers, and don't worry, they're coming and you're gonna get them. But Spirit is definitely saying that this is the energy you have to learn to embrace, is that in between moment where things aren't exactly where you want them to be. So that's why you're purposefully not getting that answer. And some of the other the other two piles, I do feel that they got a little bit more resolution to their reading, but yours is you're actually freeing yourself in this Devil card. You're freeing yourself from the need to force things to happen for you, okay? And you're freeing yourself from that go capitalistic money driven thing. You're freeing yourself from that, and you're learning to do things in a way and time that honors your body and your relationships. Okay? Again, we're going to move through this together. You're not alone. You got this, and I will see you in your next reading.